Hey James.
Hi.
Thanks for having us. So what have you been up to lately?
Been working on a couple of art projects, personal projects, and another one bigger project which enables me to pay for my personal art projects because often you don't get paid for that.
Yeah.
My personal projects, one of it has been research that I was doing with the university, looking at the middle class in Kenya. There's another project I want to work on, making dildos. And the third one is a project I'm working on for UNESCO, where I'm building an exhibition down in Namibia, looking at different countries in Africa.
Ah, okay. So what exactly is the exhibition about?
So UNESCO, has this section called ICH, which is intangible cultural heritage. And within that, they have been trying to build capacity for people to identify things that are important in their communities, things that they consider as elements that identify them as a community. It could be dances, could be some craft, could be, storytelling, whatever. And they commissioned me as an independent artist to come up with an exhibition that illustrates some of this work that they've been doing.
Oh, that sounds so exciting.
It's super exciting,
Yeah.
and we're approaching that on 3 levels. Looking at film, where I've commissioned some filmmakers from Brazil to make a film in Cabo Verde and Mozambique. I'm doing the photography, Malawi, Uganda, São Tomé, and there's performances that are going to be shown from Swaziland, Namibia, Zimbabwe. So that's the general sort of outline of the exhibition.
Wow, so that sounds like a really big project. How do you run such a project?
Oh, well, it's very complicated. I'm getting to a point where I feel like I need an assistant, you know. The complicated bit about it is traveling and organizing travel across Africa, especially when you're traveling to smaller countries that not many people are traveling to. And a good example is São Tomé, where I had to travel through Ethiopia to Accra, wait for a flight coming from Portugal to get to São Tomé. On the way back, I had to travel through Angola. And getting there, language is complicated. Portuguese, I had to find an assistant, somebody to make translations. So it's, it gets rather complicated when, you have to deal with very practical issues. But in the end, that's why why you hired, because you know how to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like you almost traveled longer than it took you when you got to the location.
Well, it's the fatigue that, is a city. Because, to get to, to leave Nairobi at 6 in the morning, then I have to check in latest 4, which means I have to leave my house. I live out here near Rongai. I have to leave here at 3, so that means I have to wake up at 2:15, shower. So, by the time I get to, São Tomé the next day in the afternoon, I'm really exhausted.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is, when I'm sort of in the work mode, then, some energy just comes in and I just have to work through it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's your most memorable experience in São Tomé? What would you say distinctively?
The fish and vin de Parma, that's palm wine. So I think 80% of my meals were fish and bananas. The island is a forest of bananas. It's a very small country, 240,000 people. And being an island, then, they're surrounded by the ocean, so there's a lot of fish there. And so that's something I'll take with me. The people are really open, warm, and very inviting, despite the language. You see the body language. They don't have a lot of sort of personal insecurity. They're very, excitable. It's sad that I was not able to understand Portuguese or speak to them. But they don't know about Kenya. Just like people here don't know much about São Tomé. They think it's a city.
Yeah.
So I think there's... hopefully in the future, people in the African continent get to interact a bit more, be aware of what others are doing, rather than having this singular sort of perspective of knowing, the English-speaking countries. I think having connections with Lusophone, these are Portuguese-speaking countries, having connections with Francophone countries, I think that would be great. So the memory for me is the fish and the bananas and the people just hanging out, having palm wine. That's really, really cool.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
So do you feel like this is the beginning of that interaction beginning to happen?
Absolutely. I mean, they were very keen to tell me, please, you must come back to São Tomé, don't forget São Tomé. Yeah. The difficult thing with it is that it's quite expensive to travel there. It's $1,800. And going to London is less than $1,000. So the people that would be able to afford this kind of air ticket, of course it's changing here, but it's really expensive. And if some of these things can be looked at, I think that would help a lot. Building interactions.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think it's possible to connect each other using cultural items. I mean, one of the things, projects I documented there is a dance called Chiloli. Wonderful. When I saw it, I just wish it come to Nairobi. I mean, it's such a good production. Sadly, because of our historical, like I mentioned, these are Lusophone countries, then we don't have any connections at all. And if we build cultural institutions that are strong enough here, local institutions that can say, look, there's these guys who are performing this thing called Chiloli, it would be wonderful to bring them over. Let them come. I mean, Salif Keita is great, all these other guys, but we've known them for a long time. There's other people doing other interesting things. So hopefully we can build these connections and share our cultures in the future.